Good morning. It is Monday, so it is time for another book talk. Unfortunately, I did not finish any books this last week. I've been trying super hard, but whenever I sit down in my chair at night and open my book, the next thing I know, I'm waking up. So it's a struggle. But anyway, I should have something fresh read for you next week. This week I'm doing an author appreciation video. I have two authors to talk about who I super love. One has more books than the other one, but you know, that's okay. First one is I've recently discovered Tiffany Jackson. She has a new book out right now called Grown, and I don't really know a whole lot about it, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to read it anyway because everything else that she's read has been awesome, or everything else she's written has been awesome. This is the first one that I read, allegedly. I think I listened to it on audio. I can't remember, honestly, but it is... she's big on unreliable narrators, and what that means is when you're listening to the person, you can't be quite sure if they're telling you the truth or not. Sometimes they don't even know what's going on. But in this book, you meet a girl who has been incarcerated for a while because she allegedly killed a baby. Okay? And she's got, a lot of issues stemming from this allegation, but she maintains her innocence throughout the book, and proposes various different other scenarios that happened instead of what the courts believe. There's a lot of stuff with her mom and other stuff going on, but it was really good, and it is also one of those books you might throw it at the end. But recommend. The other one that she wrote, I don't have a copy of it in right now. It's called Monday's Not Coming, but it was also really good, also unreliable narrator, but it's about a girl whose best friend doesn't show up to go to school with her at the beginning of the year. Every year they meet and they get on the bus together and they go to school, and her name is Monday, and she doesn't show up. So her best friend is like, where's my friend? Hey, why is nobody concerned that my friend is not here? What's happened to my friend? Somebody help me find my friend. And so she goes and investigates and just really frustrated because nobody is helping her find her friend, and then throughout the book, you'll find out why. But anyway, also a good story, kind of, dramatic in some parts, but definitely a good read. And then this one, Let Me Hear a Rhyme. I have this in historical fiction, which is always kind of, difficult for us in our, late 30s, 40s, to put things like this in historical, because it is set in, like the late 90s. But it's back when if you wanted to get into the music scene, you made like tapes, and you sold them on the street and stuff like that. Maybe they talk about CDs in here, I can't remember. But anyway, this boy is killed. He is shot, and his sister and his friends decide to take his music that he'd been making and blow it up, okay? So they want everybody to hear it. But they want to pretend that he's still alive, okay? They don't want people to know that there won't be any more of this music. So that's what they do, and he does get big. People really like his music, but the whole pretending he's not dead thing doesn't really go over very well because the people that killed him are like, hey, wait, I thought he was dead. Why is he not dead? Where's he at? Like, we need to see him, talk to him. So it's more than just music. There's other stuff going on, as always. Also, great book, though. Fantastic. And now, one of my favorite authors ever. She's been around quite a bit longer. But anyway, these are all the books that we have by A.S. King here in the library. And I shouldn't have that big of a stack of A.S. King to hold up because y'all should be checking this stuff out. Of all of those books, these are the only two I haven't read. I will eventually read them. This is a middle grade, and then this one is in our fantasy section. It's about a pirate. I'll read that one day. But this is her most recent. It did win the Prince. We don't have the copy with the medal on it, though, because I bought it early, like I always do. But this one is, when you look it up, it talks a lot about white supremacy. but it's not one of those where it doesn't beat you over the head with their morals. A.S. King doesn't really do that. She's very metaphorical. A lot of strange things happen often in her books. In this one, you have, it says, The Shoveler, the Freak, Can I Help You, Loretta the Flea Circus Ring Mistress, and First Class Malcolm. So it goes back and forth between different characters. Like, one dude's carrying a shovel around all over the place, and people are like, what are you doing? There's another girl who kind of pops in and out of places. She's there, and then she's not. There's another girl who legitimately thinks she is controlling a flea circus. All kinds of, I know it sounds really strange, but it all works out in the end, I promise. It comes together and it makes sense if you'll stick it out. And it's chunked up really tiny little bits, so you don't get lost in a whole bunch of philosophical meanderings. This one's Still Life with Tornado. This one is about a girl who is kind of dissociating, which means she is getting out of herself. Like, she's supposed to be going to school, but instead of going to school, she's just wandering around in the city, like looking at stuff and not trying to, not really thinking about what she's doing. But there's a reason for that, and you find that out in the book. I'm not going to tell you a whole bunch about it. But a lot of characters in A.S. King books are struggling with some pretty heavy things. And the way she approaches that is to kind of get them, put them in weird situations and a lot of surreal sort of stuff. This one in particular, I crawl through it. This one is sort of about standardized testing and other things, but it's super weird. It's probably the weirdest one that she's got. It's very experimental as far as narrative structure. I'm not going to go over all of these. I'll tell you two more that were my favorites. I really like this one, Reality Boy. This one is about a kid who, as a toddler, was famous for being on one of those like super nanny shows. He literally took a poo on the kitchen table and on national TV. So people are like, "Are you that dude?" And he's like, "Yeah, that was me," But now he works in a concession stand. He doesn't really have any friends. He meets a girl. Crazy stuff happens. But yeah, so interesting. What if everybody knew everything about your childhood, but only through the lens of a reality show on TV? Okay, and this last one, this is my favorite of hers. Everybody Sees the Ants. And it is about a boy who's being bullied, and his mom takes him across the country, after a big incident with the bully, to just kind of get away for a little while, and they stay with a family friend. And throughout the book, it's going back and forth between things that are happening in his real life and then these dreams that he's having. He keeps having these recurring dreams where he is in the jungle in Vietnam with his grandfather. Okay, and his grandfather is missing in action. He was a Vietnam veteran, but he disappeared, during the conflict, and body never recovered. So the family is still searching for him. So you learn a lot about the POW and the MIA movements in the book. So I learned a lot of stuff when I read it, but it was also very interesting because the things that he's doing in his dream are, while he's trying to find and save his grandfather, they're all related to the stuff that's actually happening in his real life. So he's working things out, in both places. But it's got a lot of really good quotes in it. I just recommend that you check any of her stuff out. It's all good. If you like realistic fiction with a little bit of surreal stuff going on. So anyway, I guess I'll see you all next week, and I'll probably talk a lot less because I'm not going to read 15 books. So see you later.